The University of Guelph was a unique project in the sense that they've been trying to do deployment of a digital signage system for many years. Just kept getting put on the back burner. They hired a person, Kevin Yin, who is fantastic at what he does and was able to see their vision of what they wanted to create. The university, like any university, has a tight budget. There wasn't a lot of technology, but the content that they were able to deploy was absolutely stunning. I was really happy with how they did their content. The system itself, very simple. There are multiple displays throughout the university center, giving communication for multiple students that are walking through the center. There was one area that just naturally looked like it should be a 1x4 video wall, and we actually did that with putting 4 screens up and creating this video wall. So overall, we were quite happy with the project. The client, it exceeded their expectations as far as what they wanted, and their content, I have to applaud them. They just did an amazing job on their content. As a senior account person for Westbury National, what my role is to listen to the client and really get an understanding of what it is that they're trying to create. Help them out, give them suggestions on technology, what might be suitable choices for them, and really kind of see things that they may not be seeing. In this case, they were a very educated customer and knew a lot of what they wanted, but there were certain elements, like the video wall is an example, where I could see and envision exactly what they should have in that area and really gave them my recommendation on that. Everything else was their vision, which was fantastic. Well, the manufacturers are Christie on the display side. We went with Christie simply because we wanted to up the game a little bit in the overall image that the display had. We did a 4K system, so everything is 4K. So to future-proof it, and if content comes that they're going to start producing in 4K, the system will be capable of handling it. We have Crestron as a partner. Crestron is our integration platform in order to create custom schedules, be able to do things with the system where the client can deploy certain content to certain areas. And then our digital signage platform is BrightSign. The schedule, like anything, it's well, we've got a couple of weeks. Can you do it? No, it wasn't quite that bad. It was the schedule was tight. It's like any university. There's certain months when there's no one in the school, and that was their time to deploy it. Their resource facilities. They're the ones that install the electrical components. They were already slammed with a lot of work to try and get done over the months where students were not at the campus. So our job was really to do a very speedy installation behind when they started finishing all the electrical requirements. And it worked out nice. It worked out well. We have a professional team. They do some amazing work, and they're used to being under the gun to try and get things completed. We kept our level of professionalism very high and still managed to work really hard to get it done, and we deployed the system on time. I think for the future, we're really trying to look at keeping the capabilities of the system similar as we expand throughout the campus. Similar displays of the same brand, similar sizes. Try and do things differently in certain areas. If we're doing an outdoor deployment, it would be a different technology than what we're doing inside. But really trying to standardize it as the client expands their digital signage platform around the campus. So yeah, just keeping it standard. So this is an interesting story in the sense that it was kind of pushed by the mayor of Cambridge to get this project up and running. They had bought a building that had been sitting vacant for a long time. It was a historic building built around 1855 or something like that. They bought this building because they wanted to create a digital library, a collaboration space, a place for the people of the community to come together, be able to work in it, have a coffee there, all sorts of things. They have kids programs. It's a real community hub for the city of Cambridge. But the mayor had this vision from his travels of seeing buildings having content put on the buildings and transforming what these buildings look like. And he was very much intrigued to do something like that because he wanted to revitalize the downtown core of Cambridge. And the location is perfect because there's a big parking lot across the street that people can congregate in and watch the show. So when they first called us on board, they had a lot of questions about how to do this, because they weren't sure. They've seen it, like I said before, in other instances. So we took our experience, because we've done these types of projects before, and we went to site and we're like, okay, there's a few challenges here. One, it is a parking lot that's across the street, so where do we put the projectors? Because this is not for a show. This isn't a one-time event. This is running all year round, many years to come, so it's going to be here all the time. So we had to find a location for the projectors. The second is, again, it's a parking lot. So how do you get power? How do you get internet signal? How do you get these things that you need to complete the system? It was a meant to be moment, really was, because everything kind of fell into place. The one building that was our only option for putting the projectors onto, the city didn't want to be a landlord-tenant situation where they were renting the space and paying their electrical bill. So there was a small piece of land that that building owned. So the city purchased it at a very good price, which was amazing because land is very expensive. So they were able to acquire this land, and from that point, then it was a matter of us designing a structure that can be put on this land that would be high enough where we could put our projectors to get the right elevation to be able to hit the building perfectly. So then we had to go through the design process with the clients as far as how it looks, safety issues, weather conditions, because it's cold in Canada, and there's a lot of things that had to be thought about during the design process, but we met the expectations of what the client wanted. We're able to put this structure into the area that was a very small piece of land, and when it came to the utilities, the power, the internet, it just happened to be, again, one of those to-be moments. Everything was already underneath the parking lot. They had a ton of infrastructure already in place. And it's like, great, this is meant to be. This is where it needs to be. So the client was able to arrange the electrical that we needed in order to get power to the projectors. So from a design standpoint, we were ready. Now it was about putting a content team together in order to design content specific for the building. The client didn't really have any expectations or mandates other than the fact that they saw a building look like it collapsed, so they really wanted to have that as part of their content. They wanted to show a little bit of history, but the big impact that they wanted was a wow factor. They wanted people to stand there and just go, what am I looking at? This is amazing. And our content team really took it, did a great job at being able to deliver that for the client. We had an original artist that was able to create art to the building, make it look beautiful in her version of what the art should be. And then in between her scenes, we were creating a lot of digital impact by creating the wow factor. 3D animations, 2D animations, really making the building come to life. And the client was just ecstatic at the end of it. They were so happy, excuse me, because it met and exceeded their expectations. The amount of feedback that they're getting from the community on social media was just huge. We're proud of our community. We can't believe we have this in our city. It's something to be grateful for. And then it turned into something else post-install. It turned into, well, how do we get the college and university programs involved with this? And how do we get those kids that are going to school involved in creating content? And now they're wanting to do stuff with us as well, being able to create content for this project. So it's kind of really just gone full circle in what it's turned into, from just being a simple projection mapping system to something that's hit the community really hard. And it really is nice for the students of both this college program and university program to be involved in it, because kids go to school to think they're going to work for Disney or create video games, and where else can they use their skill set? And shows like DSE, you can see that content is everywhere. There's so many places where you can use content. So it's great to give them that exposure, so that way, the kids know that there's more jobs out there. As integrators, we create some fantastic solutions for our clients, but don't really have a platform to showcase them on. So this has really been nice to be able to showcase our projects on this type of platform. I also like it, again, because the education side of it, if content creators come to this show and see where they can do content, it exposes them to so much more than just the typical places where they want or think they can get work. So, in fact, I've brought my daughter to this show this year because she's getting into graphic design and looking at the whole animation part of things, because she wants to get involved in content. So I said, come to this show. I want you to see it. And it's really an education for her and for other people that are attending the show. And then again, for ourselves, it's more of a way of being able to show off our work. And I like a little bit of competition, and I like seeing other people's projects. There's been some fantastic projects this year that were entered in the awards, and last year there were some amazing projects. So it's really nice that we can showcase those projects. And I really like that this year it's the project both for technology as well as content. Previous years they separated it, and it was like content here, technical here. But I like that it's, at least this is my understanding, I could be wrong, but from what I understand, they're really making their judgment on the projects based on technology and content.
Because they're so married.
Yeah. You can't do one without the other,
exactly.
Right? And from our standpoint, we can deliver a very technical, complex project, but if the content isn't any good, it's just going to make us look bad. So really, the two go hand in hand, and it's very important. And I'm glad that they do the Apex Awards that way now and combine both of them. So if I recommend for all people that haven't attended the show, they got to start coming to the show. So it's a good thing to attend. I'm very fortunate to have nice clients. I'm very fortunate to have a great company like Westbury to do the technology side of things. Some great people, real experts in their field. I can't do what I do without them. As a salesperson, basically, if I'm talking to my customers about doing some type of deployment, if I didn't have these experts behind me, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that.